Democratic Senator John Kerry and Texas Republican Kay Bailey Hutchison announced a plan Tuesday to create a new infrastructure bank. They say it's going to spur $640 billion in infrastructure investments with only $10 billion in initial seed money from the government. Joining me now from Washington is Senator Kerry. Senator, how's all this going to work?
Well, it works through the old-fashioned way that money works, through leverage. What happens is, by issuing loans through the Treasury Department, we are able to attract private capital to deals where that capital can make money, but couldn't afford to do it without part of the deal being through the federal loan. So in effect, we're lowering the cost of a loan to those companies. It attracts them to a revenue-producing infrastructure deal, and we get to build America, we create jobs, and everybody wins.
Right, and you had Richard Trumka, a major union leader, on stage today with Tom Donahue, who's the head of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. That's the group in Washington that represents big business interests. And you had them both on the same stage talking about how this is going to be good for America. Is this something everyone can agree on?
Well, we hope so. The fact, really, Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia of New York years ago said there's no Democrat way and no Republican way to clean the streets. Well, the fact is there's no Democrat way or Republican way to build America. We have to have airports. We have to have transit systems that work. We have to have highways and roads, bridges that work. And right now we're falling way behind. As Tom Donahue of the Chamber of Commerce said, our own engineers in America give us a D, give America a D for infrastructure development. There's billions of dollars sitting on the sidelines waiting for this kind of signal. And if we create this, I believe we can really begin a great build-out of our American infrastructure.
Right. You say this is going to cost $10 billion in initial funding to get it off the ground.
Correct.
And then after that, it's going to be self-sufficient. But even that's, $10 billion, not a big chunk of the federal budget. Times are tight. Are you going to be able to find that money?
If we don't, then shame on America, because we'll wind up falling further behind and we're not going to be able to catch up. If we can find over $150 billion or more for the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan each year, surely we can find $10 billion to kick $640 billion or more of investment in our own country. I'm convinced we'll find that offset. The administration has put $30 billion into its budget for infrastructure development. And we just have to find it. We have to find the way to find the offset, because it's going to create jobs. The long-term benefits of something that was built, say the interstate highway system, which President Eisenhower led the effort to build, we're still living off that. And the fact is it produces enormous addition to the gross domestic product of our country. If we invest further in the same way, we're going to attract more businesses, more capital to our country. We'll grow our economy, we'll create more jobs, America will be stronger.
You said you've spoken to the White House about this. Their plan calls for $30 billion in a similar structure. What's better about your plan, and how do you save so much more money?
Well, their plan actually is not similar to ours. It has grants in it. We don't have grants. We only have loans. Secondly, they put their structure within one particular department of the government, into the transportation sector. We don't want to do that. We make this a freestanding infrastructure bank. If you look in Europe, they have an infrastructure bank. They're currently spending 5% of their GDP on infrastructure. China is spending 9% of their GDP on infrastructure. We're spending slightly less than 2%. We can do better in America. We used to do this all the time.
So why is this really necessary for the federal government to be doing? We already spend about $65 billion on grants, that most of those trickle down to state and local municipalities. Why aren't commercial banks stepping in here and making some of these loans?
Because they can't choose to do it at the price that we can do it at the federal level, so it doesn't make it as competitive a loan. And we have the responsibility to do these things because we are the government. I mean, the fact is only the government can do some of these kinds of projects. An energy project, for instance, or a water treatment facility that goes across state lines. These are the kinds of things where you need to have some kind of government leverage.
And one last question, Senator, before we go. You've said you want to accomplish this on a pretty quick timeline. What's your goal there? What are you aiming for?
I want to pass it this year in this budget and then begin to set it up as rapidly as we can and hopefully have it in place sometime next year and be able to go forward.
Great. Thanks very much, Senator.
Thank you.